Welcome back to another week of FetchQuest. We are a party member short. However, let's not worry about that. Everyone's doing okay. Everyone's just fine. Alakai, do you mind catching us up?
I'd be glad to. So, last time we all woke up from sleeping at the Masveric estate, and Lord Valamir just pulled up and was like, "Hey, can I crash at your place?" And at that point, Zon was like, "Kind of trying to burn it down. Do you mind?" But they worked it out, and now Valamir is just crashing at his place. They arranged to fake a death later. In the meantime, we powered up James on our floating disc into a carriage, transported that all the way to the secret tower that James uses to recover, put the rocks on top of his pedestal thing, seemed to be glowing. Fingers crossed. Um, Explored the tower a little bit and found some things we hadn't originally found. Notes and potential new leads into new directions, and also from Sister Metal, I believe her name was, found some scrolls. Just your normal magic scrolls. Nothing too crazy. Just obliterate 500 feet in a line. Average magic things. And then we came to a bit of a crossroads. Zahn revealing that he had been further blessed by the host with angelic wings, along with some other abilities, and we were presented with a choice of staying the course here and leaving to pursue more of our quest to save the world. And that's where we left off.
Fantastic. So, like you said, Zon's just laid down the we need to keep moving south. We need to stop going after the queen. Who would like to speak first?
Well, Zahn, it is good that you have brought that to the table. It's a discussion point we all should have.
Yeah. uh, I mean, there's no clear discussion in my mind. It's, I need your help. The world will end if we don't do this. That is what has been brought to me. We're talking about saving a country or saving the world.
And, well, you know why I need to.
I understand your petty father has decided that you need to take the throne now. But I think you need to broaden your scope here.
You're actually slightly mistaken. He doesn't want me to take the throne. He wants me to kill the queen for him. And it's either I do it or he brings up my brother from the south who doesn't want to be involved with the family at all.
Then let's see.
Yeah.
Let's make a deal here. We need to go south. Do you know where your brother is?
Further south than Kel.
And is he going to go along with his wishes, or is he going to be forced to do it?
If my father has to bring him up, he will force my brother, most likely against his wishes. Because that's the entire reason why I got my brother out of Moroth. He didn't want to be involved with the family. As such,
Then
I
if
had to.
it will make you feel better, if we go down to South to Kel, right after our stop here with the map and where it needs to go, your father can't move as quickly as we can. We will find your brother, and he'll stay with us, and I'll protect him.
For all I know, he has means of communication. Where my brother is, which is Herzoria. As you well know, he apparently had communication up in the Fallen Keep area as well. I'm not saying it's not that I don't want to help you, Zahn. I do. I was once in good graces with the host, so I know what he speaks of as important. Thus, I agree it needs to be done. I just can't leave Moroth. Not yet.
As you wish. I will find someone else.
Kara's gonna kind of awkwardly clear her throat and kind of look at everyone and then say that she feels that it's responsible for her to stay and help Domikos. And that if we are splitting, we should most likely split the magic items we've got.
What magic items?
She's gonna gesture towards the broken bag of holding full of just magical stuff.
Oh, you mean the things that are 90% cursed?
She's just gonna offer you a shrug.
I have a fate of the world on my back right now, I hope you know. I'm taking on a much harder thing here. With running out of time, which is why I'm asking you all to help me and not worry about a country that doesn't give a shit about you.
Gonna shake our head and say that a week in the long run doesn't really matter. It's just 7 days. We can take 7 days, help Domikos out with his issue, then go follow this crazy map.
There is something Domikos would say to that, but I don't know if you know how Kara would respond.
Yeah, I mean, seen Kara play, but
I don't really feel like it's my place to jump in this saving the world and assassinating legions and things. It's a bit above my pay grade.
Oh. Francesca, you are certainly capable of either following Zahn or not. It's entirely up to you. No matter what happens, I know Lord Falamir will find his way.
How long is the travel from Moroth to Kel, or wherever this map is leading?
the map is leading to a good almost month of travel. It's sort of pointing towards the most southern tip of Kel.
I gotta roll. If we kill the queen, and your father takes whatever the fuck he wants, how willing, or, well, how sure are you that he won't abuse his power?
I met the man once and I want to kill him, so if that gives any inclination.
I'll answer this before you even answer, because I agree with Francesca. If we do this and we give him that power, once this is all over and whatever I need to do is done, I will come back and kill him.
Kara's just gonna kind of shrug and mutter under her breath. He's kind of a dick anyway.
Honestly, your answer does not surprise me, Zahn, and if
It
they're
really
all still
shouldn't.
alive, I would most likely help you with that.
All right, one more time. Ooh, that was almost bad. It was 10 or lower. Begrudgingly fine. But you do realize you have to be the one to kill the queen now. None of us can.
Technically, the Masverics are not dead yet. You could be the one as well.
I don't know the specifics on handing over noble power between other families, but sure.
I think more importantly than whether we want to kill him or not, because truth be told, there are a lot of people I meet whose my first instinct is, well, More importantly than that is, can he handle the crisis?
Whatever crisis he's going to handle, it doesn't quite matter. There's a world-ending crisis that I know he can't handle.
True, but there is also the crisis in the north that is making its way down here to the south.
That's what
If
I
he
mean.
can handle it,
If
though.
he can handle it, I don't really care. If everything dies, what does it matter?
I suppose that is true. It's kind of a lot to think about.
Of course it is. Which is why I thought I would be the one to do it. But new information came in and I've changed my mind. Sacrifice is unfortunately going to be necessary here.
Yes, which is why I was prepared to have to depart the group for a time.
Well, you don't need to now, I suppose.
So Car's gonna scratch the back of Noodle's head and kind of look around, and then kind of focus a little bit more on Noodle, and say, "So we're gonna have to kill a queen. How are we gonna do that?"
Good question. I don't rightly know. James was my contact for most of that information, and all he got me was a journal that only led to me finding that, my house was invaded by a very bad person.
Well, we know that the ball is in a week, so we have a week to prepare. Do you have any leads or anything like that? I mean, she's not a Francisca. We saw that the Thieves Guild were planning to break into the treasury. Is there anything we could use from that?
I might have stolen a few documents from them. I'm not sure how useful they will be or not. And she's going to pull out the documents that she stole, which is the it's the Thieves Guild weapon ledger.
Yeah.
Not very handy, I take it.
No, it's more marking. It's almost like there's various code names on there and markings of like which weapons they've rented them out. It seems more of like an inventory checklist than anything else.
Over. The whole place was torched by the crow.
I mean, I was planning on striking at the ball.
Well, that was the most obvious of the plans. It's more, how do we get in with weapons and how do we find her?
What's Morathian customs when it comes to these types of formal events? Is there any like ceremonial weapons or anything of the sort? I know in Kel there was a little bit of parade armor and parade weapons that one would have for show.
Kara's gonna shake her head. No ceremonial weapons. I mean, this place is pretty much a powder keg as it is, let alone giving people even ceremonial weapons to walk around with. Um, it's more like the bigger the better.
Well, that's good to know. My weapon of choice, and she's going to hold up the short bladeless hilt. I can stash this on my person very well. You are good at spellcasting, so I don't think I've ever seen either of you draw a weapon.
I mean, I can use a dagger, but I definitely have my strengths elsewhere.
And you seem to have a bag in your possession that can store many items. So perhaps that is how we can do that.
I definitely need to get that repaired before we do anything with that.
Is there what kind of ball is this? Is this like a costume ball? I know there will already be masks involved.
It's your typical Morothian ball. Lots of snooty people doing snooty things in their snooty outfits.
Believe it or not, this will be my first ever Morathian ball.
I am not shocked by that at all.
I'm just thinking we will have to come up with some form of disguise for you, Zon. If it were a costume party, I could say that you could disguise yourself as an angel.
I don't think it's a costume party, but okay.
I know that complicates things a little bit.
Yeah, looking over the invitation, it doesn't really say anything explicitly that it is a costume party, but it also doesn't say it isn't a costume party.
Costume parties always explicitly say they're a costume party.
Listen, everything's a costume party as long as you don't feel shame.
With enough time, I could create a disguise around you that might be able to hide your weapons as well.
Well, and hopefully before then, James would, be at least able to speak and
That
maybe
would be useful. He had a way in. Grease some helper's hands. But
if we also need to, I can, with a bit of time and a bit of planning, I could change the interior of the ballroom to look as if it were somewhere else to cause chaos, create a diversionary opening.
possibly. That could be an interesting
Alright.
idea. We'd need to know where the queen was first. What we were looking at.
Yeah, that would take some time to cast, though, and I don't know if we could have a place quiet enough and without prying eyes.
Well, chances are the queen will be walking around the ball, and Snooty, as you put it, Zon, will be trying to rub elbows with her.
Like, if we wanted to, I could even just make all of us appear completely different, dressed in completely different fashions.
Kara's gonna kind of be like scratching a noodle, and then she's gonna say, "Well, Zahn, aren't you supposed to be dead? We don't want like if people see James moving around, they're gonna realize that you're alive too."
Oh, I don't expect him to be moving around. I just need him to tell me what he knows so that I can use the information. He didn't exactly get a chance to tell me any of that information before, he got cracked open.
Well, I'm sure there's like, they never really pay attention to the help at these kinds of things. I'm sure we could get some servant's clothes or something like that.
Possibly.
Or
It
if
will
we're
be
looking
difficult in my current form to do that, however.
Well, sure. I mean, we still
Gestures to his back and the gigantic orc form that he is.
If you give me enough
Yeah.
time, I can make you look like a 1 foot shorter, any body shape you want individual.
That's an interesting
Everybody.
idea.
As long as you have 2 arms and 2 legs, it should work out.
It's an idea. I suppose that should be our go-to plan for now, is change shape into different people, get some clothes, and sneak in with the help. But hopefully in the next 7 days, James might be in a position to actually speak and give us a bit more information.
The only thing is that it is a illusion. Anyone who does a thorough inspection might be able to see through it. So I would have to keep the illusion as close to what you have to avoid too much suspicion. But I can make armor look like clothing. I can make you look like a human or a full orc or a elf if I wanted to.
I mean, the only real thing that stands out would be your wings, technically.
I suppose. You don't see many half-orcs being help, though. Especially ones in conditions like I am.
Well, I mean, if we could take care of your wings, then we could dress you up as like a guard or something like that. That way you have a
That
reason
would
for a
actually
weapon.
probably be a much better idea. Could keep my armor on then.
Carla, you are good at the changing of creatures' looks and physical appearance. I've seen you do it with Nudo numerous times. Could you do that with Zon?
Well, let me go grab up Kara's character sheet. Oh, yeah, that's right. She's a dwarf now. I forgot about that.
That actually works out in our favor a little bit.
Yeah, I could. It'll only be for an hour though.
I mean, depending on how quickly we move once we are in there, an hour might be all we need.
Yeah, I could transform Zon into a few things that would be able to get into the palace.
It might actually work out well. I am a bodyguard. Perhaps Zon could be disguised as another bodyguard. One for you, Karna. One for you, Damocles.
Well, like I said, guards. The only guards that have weapons are the guards at the party. No one else brings a weapon. So even being bodyguards for someone don't mean that you can get a weapon in.
That is what the illusions would more than likely help with.
I don't know.
It is something to strategize about, at least. Another thing to strategize about is, are we going to spend the night here?
I planned on staying here.
I know
You all
that
should probably keep appearances up.
Zahn, I will. Didn't Lord Falamir wish to speak with you tonight?
I plan to speak with him, but I also plan to stay here tonight.
Well, if you are, then perhaps I can stay nearby.
If you
I
wish.
can help to make this a secure place to stay.
If you wish.
If
Oh, I
possible.
gotta go home. But we can meet back here tomorrow.
Like I said, keep up appearances.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna turn around and start to slowly walk home in case anyone wants to catch up with her.
About what time is it right now?
Right now it's. Hold on, I didn't write down the time in my last notes. Yeah, stupid me, didn't write down the time. Let's say it's around 4:30 p.m.
All right. Well, I suppose we should all head back then. I will go back to whatever's left of the mansion at the moment and wait for nightfall and then come back.
Correct.
Very well.
I'll do that. Checking on
Cool.
the pile of rocks as we pass it by.
Sure. As you pass by the rocks, it does look like some of the rocks have fused together, but no real progress has been made.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Cool. All right, and you guys each head home. Francisca, anybody you're hanging out with?
Since Valamir is crashing at the Masveric residence, I think I'll probably head there.
Cool. And Domicus, are you also heading to the Masverics, or are you heading home?
I am going to head home
Okay.
for the moment.
Cool. Since it's just you heading home, let's go ahead and take care of that. Yeah, so you guys split up when you get into town. Two of you heading towards the Masverics, one of you and the two others heading towards their respective homes. Domicos, you get home to an empty and still manor. Like it always is, at any time of day. No hustle and bustle of servants here.
At least not seen. I will go get a piece of parchment. I will write a note on it, which I will share with you.
Nice.
And I will beckon a servant order and give him the parchment.
So after you're done writing the parchment, you just kind of tilt your hand out, and you feel you feel it slowly tugged from your hand. But when you look up, the servant's already gone.
And then let's see. The journal that I looked at with the landmark that was close to the castle.
Sure.
Was it indicated like how specifically close it was, or
It really
like, was
seemed
it like
Sorry, go
underneath?
ahead.
Was it like underneath the castle, or like a vault under there, or just like near it, or?
It seemed less of a cartographer going out and drawing out this map area, and more of like somebody who was just trying to jot down its relative location, much similar to a pirate map leading to treasure. It is near one of the small rivulets that does run around the castle, is where the vault is supposed to be marked.
Cool. Well, I am going to then begin heading there to try and locate it. As I get closer to the castle, if I need to, I will use a spell to become more inconspicuous if need be.
And you don't really need to be there. Doesn't when you go towards the rivulet, there doesn't really seem to be a lot of people. There are a few families picnicking on the sort of grass plain, a few kids playing in the water, but it doesn't really seem to be anybody's paying too much attention to you. Although I do need you to make a survival check to see if you can follow this map properly and the indications on the ground.
Okay, give me a moment. I am.
Okay, so you do pretty good. It only takes you about an hour to track down where this is, and it's sort of like you have to get into the water. And as you're crossing through the little rivulet, going closer to the castle, you notice that hidden beneath some very tall reeds is an entrance into what seems to be a sort of cave leading downwards. There is some water from the stream bubbling down through the mouth of this cave, heading down.
Cool. Um, anyone paying any attention to me where I'm currently at the moment?
Make a perception check. Okay. See if anyone's paying attention. Um, when you look around, you just see like a kid who is just kind of watching you. It looks like he was playing with some friends, then ran off to get like whatever, like the ball they were playing with, and sees you just kind of standing, sort of on the other end of the rivulet, and he's kind of watching you, waiting to see what you're doing.
Okay. I am actually going to.
Fireball.
Um, I'm actually going to kind of make my way to the nearby, just like grass on the edge of the water,
Sure.
and kind of like just sit down and kind of just be enjoying the fresh air.
So after you sit down and take a sort of relaxed state, you can tell the boy kind of relaxes a little bit, grabs the ball, and runs back to his friends.
Cool. I will. Take a few minutes and just relax.
Okay.
And then I will cast invisibility. And then I will go underwater.
Well, you don't really need to go underwater. You're just kind of
Oh.
walking into a cave that leads downwards. It looks
Okay.
like from the way that the rivulet is running, this used to be a much bigger and stronger river, and it looks like at one point it did flow down into this cave, but now it's much too weak to do so more than like a few feet into it. But yeah, you walk into this cave, and on the walls and on the floor you see the similar blued lines that you've seen in the other vaults.
I will continue on, keeping an eye out for anything.
Sure. Um, as you go down, the light almost seems to completely disappear from behind you. You can no longer hear the voices of the kids playing and shouting and the splashing. The only sound that almost seems to throb around you is the deafening silence that fills this cave. You can almost hear your own heart beating as you descend further and further down. Eventually, you do find yourself into what appears to be a large um, cavern, which is empty except for a few stalagmites and a deep pool of water in the northwest corridor or northwest corner.
I will make my way carefully and as quietly as I can, just keeping an eye out for any other like offshoots. I will also take a look at the water, seeing if it reminds me of anything specific that I've seen before.
Sure. Are you wanting to go ahead and throw a stealth check since you're moving quietly? And then as you're looking around, you don't really see any offshoots. It kind of seems like this cavern's a dead end. But then throw an investigation check as you look into the water.
Hey, there's the balance.
It takes you a while, a lot longer than you'd like to admit, but eventually, like after some, you end up having to use you produce flame as a cantrip, right?
I do not, but I can prestidigitation.
No, that's fine. I think firebolt should be.
I can also do control flames, but I would need to make a fire first.
Cool. So eventually, whatever, you end up lighting a torch, and you're noticing that the rocks on the bottom of this pool they're black, but they seem to absorb the light, very similar to the mirror you guys saw in the Fallen Keep.
Mhm. I'm not able to tell if it's like it looks like a tunnel,
No,
or it's
it
just a
looks like
pool.
it looks like a pool that gradually descends deeper, and the rocks on the bottom seem to almost be made out of the same material that the mirror that you guys traveled through was made out of.
Mm.
But in like pebble form.
Yeah. Let's see. I am going to just to see if anything is nearby. I'm going to use an action to convert oh, I'm actually just going to convert a first level spell
Okay.
to a single. Hold on. No, I can't. I would need to. Okay, I will spend 2 sorcery points to regain my first level spell that I had apparently casted. And then I will also expend a charged rune to do manifest inscriptions to cause any hidden magical marks, runes, wards, or glyphs within 15 feet to reveal themselves.
Sure. So there's after you cast this, there's a moment. Then you feel the ground around you start to rumble. Still no sound in your ears. And you see a little bit of dust start to fall away from the wall in front of you. When you look up at the opposite end of this pool of water, it's to follow the path, you must open the gate carved into the wall in that light blue script.
And knowing my previous experience with these gates, I would need to know the specific word.
Do you have the orb out with you?
I can certainly pull it out of my bag.
Just curious.
I'll wait for a moment and then I will pull the orb out.
How close are you to the water when you pull this orb out?
I imagine I would still be near it as that's where I was when I was looking at, like, studying the water. So
Cool. So as you pull the orb out, you're not really noticing anything. Nothing really seems to shift in the room. But when you look down at the water, it almost seems to be pushing away from you. Almost like, when you blow on some water and it kind of flows away? That's what it almost seems to be doing to you in a minor way.
interesting. It would be interesting to know what secrets my father holds. I will go. I'm going to go into the water.
Cool. So as you step into the water pushes away from you, and you find that you are walking on stairs leading down. As you get deeper in, the water sort of swells around you and starts to glow. When you get your head below the water surface, you can hear rushing water. And then, okay. And then, after a few moments of walking, you realize you're no longer surrounded by the water anymore, although you still do hear the rushing water and can see a faint glow above you. But it seems to, when you look up, it's almost like you're looking through glass at a pool above you. And in front of you is a wooden door.
Do I hear anything coming from the other side of the door?
Make a perception check at disadvantage. The rush sound of rushing water is extremely loud. No, you do not hear anything. Actually, how are you listening at the door? Are you pressing yourself up against it?
I imagine I would need to.
Okay, so as you sort of lean against the door to listen to it, you hear a sharp crack and then a groan, and then this old rotted door falls to pieces, revealing a deep chamber within that seems to be lit by blue flickering lights.
Deep changer, like big or just like deep, like down? Deep.
Sort of a mix. Like it steps down and it's sort of lead into a big chamber. You can't really see into it, but you can see blue flickering lights coming from within.
Does the light seem to be within 60 feet of me?
Yeah, it's like 10-foot walk down the stairs.
Cool. Without walking in, I'm going to try and to see if it's a flame. I'm going to try and use control flames to make it a little brighter.
Do you have to see the flame directly?
Well, this is also going to figure out if it's non-magical or not, but non-magical flame within range, which is 60 feet.
Okay, so you cannot see the source of the flame itself. You still find yourself unable to control
Cool.
these.
In that case, I will walk down the stairs.
So when you walk down the stairs, first thing that greets you is a pair of eyes carved into the wall, 60 feet across from you. When you look, there seem to be almost 7 chambers, like almost doorways that have been carved in the wall with no actual doors, with a pair of eyes in each of them. Sitting in the middle of this room is what looks to be what was once a large anvil, but is now overflowed with wax. When you look up, there are hanging chandeliers that have candles that are burned all the way down to the bottom with the bright blue flames, but wax is pouring endlessly from them and onto the anvil in the middle. And you get a feeling that this is a holy place, though not necessarily the best of holy places to be in.
Is anything happening with the orb while I'm in here?
The orb feels colder, almost heavier.
Similar to the previous
Right.
doorway. Okay. Let's see. Is there any writing that I can see on the walls or anywhere?
Not that you can see, no. Do you approach the waxen altar in the middle of the room?
I will approach towards it, but I won't. I'll still stay at a distance for
Sure.
a moment as I kind of look around.
Sure. So on the wax altar itself, it seems as though the molten wax that's falling down seems to be flowing around something, almost like it would flow around like a cup on the table, but there's nothing on the table itself. You almost feel as if each pair of these eyes is focused on you, like something's aware that you're in this room and is waiting for your next step.
I'm going to approach the nearest just going to get a better look at the nearest spot where there's an eye near me.
Sure. So you walk up to one of the empty doorways with the eye carved into the wall right behind it. Make an investigation check. So you're not seeing much. Just the creepy atmosphere of this whole thing is kind of throwing you off your game. So you take a look around and eventually settle yourself back in front of the waxen altar, determining that the carved eyes on the walls are just that, eyes. As you're approaching the waxen altar, you notice that the light almost seems to flare up before realizing that the pair of eyes that was right behind the altar has somehow disappeared, and that wall is now a mirror.
Of course, it's a mirror. I will look at the mirror.
Sure. You're making direct eye contact with yourself in the mirror. Your reflection isn't doing anything.
I'm still near the altar, right?
How close are you to the altar?
Gosh. I really want to be within. I will move to be within 15 feet.
So you're still not quite close enough to see what's on top of the altar.
That's fine because I expended rune to do the manifest inscriptions again.
Sure. Nothing pops up on the walls. If something pops up on the table, you're too far away to see.
Well, it would just show any charge, any hidden marks, runes, wards, or glyphs within 15 feet of me reveal themselves in a glow.
Any hidden marks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no glowing around you then.
Staying 15 feet away, I'm going to make my way around the wax to the mirror.
Cool. So you approach the mirror, and there's a moment where it's making eye contact with you, and then it kind of almost stretches itself. Just, doing normal stretches, not like stretching itself out of proportion, just, like that, almost as if it's shaking. It's trying to wake up. So, we're here.
It appears so.
There's a lot of power here.
Yes, there is. It seems, at least.
Have you seen the altar?
Seen it. I haven't approached.
There's some fun stuff.
Like what?
Well, why don't you check it out for yourself? I only know what you know, Domikos. I can't tell you what you've seen if you haven't seen it yet.
See, that's the interesting thing is then you would know I'm being cautious because what if it's a trap?
We're in Moroth. Everything is a trap. But, to be fair, this looks like it was here before Moroth. So maybe it's not? Either way, big chamber full of powerful, just energy. And a wax altar? Come on.
The main answer I'm looking for is if this is a reason as to how my dad is how he is currently.
Well,
And he's seen him reading the book before, so it's possible, but
right. But you know, everything we've seen of those people from Velirine, they had magic pretty down pat. So what if your dad never got to see this? Like this was something hidden in the book.
or he read it and has been here but hasn't been here necessarily.
Also true. It does require a key to get down here, so maybe he just got stuck in the pool.
That will help. Looking at a spell real quick because I can't remember what the spell is.
No worries.
That wouldn't help. All right.
Besides, I think if your father was here, there'd be no power left in this room.
Also fair.
There's enough power in here that you could.
Of course, I don't ever remember him being able to wield magic if it's that type of power, at least.
Also true. But think, there's enough power in this room that we won't ever have to be someone's tools ever again. Everyone will start working for us. How's that sound?
It sounds like something I was already working towards.
Just a shortcut on the path, then. Let's see what's on that anvil.
I'm gonna kind of look over at the anvil. I'm gonna sigh, kind of glance back at the mirror.
Reflection is going to shrug.
Gonna walk towards the anvil.
Sure. So as you approach it, you do see that although the wax is pouring endlessly on the anvil, it just simply seems to drip off and instantly harden. But doesn't really seem to be getting the anvil doesn't seem to be getting any more layers of wax than it already has on there. It's flowing around a carved name in a language that you don't understand and two handprints in the wax.
Really? I don't understand it.
Oh shit, you got Runekeeper, right?
Yep.
Metal is what the name on the anvil says. Around two handprints that look similar, very familiar.
I'm gonna glance back at the mirror. Very interesting that this would be the name of someone who I had a brief bit of knowing recently.
Life is weird. But since it's hard for the conscious mind to keep track of everything that's going on, I'll lay down what's been going on in the background. There's a person who's trapped here, and they don't want to be trapped here anymore. But the one person that was helping them get free, Sister Metal, was recently killed. So, being the righteous saviors that we are, we shouldn't leave anyone trapped. Especially not if they're offering us all this power.
Now that is something that I did not know.
Yeah, conscious mind doesn't pick up on these things. You're too focused on clothing and masks and stuff.
Is my unconscious mind knowing what or who is trapped here?
Well, that wouldn't be very fun, would it?
On the contrary, it could be.
Well, I don't think they're literally trapped here in this room. I think it's more of a symbolic sort of, and your reflection just kind of wave his arms out, gesturing for like everything here kind of thing, not like in this room.
And what would happen if I were to, you know, I wouldn't get trapped again, would I?
I don't assume so, but I think for it to work, you'd need to wipe out the other name and write yours in.
Because the one thing I don't want is to be trapped again.
Of course not. But why would this thing, who's yearning to be free, trap you? The reflection kind of walks over to one of the reflections of the walls and puts its hand on it. Can't you feel it crying out for help? It's offering us this much power just to help break it free.
I am going to walk over to the same wall that my reflection walked to
Sure.
and put my hand up and kind of focus to try and see if I can hear that.
Make an Arcana check.
God damn it.
So you can't, like, you feel as if there's something just on the edges of your perception, but you can definitely feel almost you can feel a steady beating coming through the walls, almost as if the rhythmic pumping of a heart, at least one heart.
No, this probably isn't going to work, but I'm going to try and focus on that sound. I'm going to try to communicate telepathically with the owner of said heart.
So what you're saying is you're opening a telepathic connection with whatever is beating inside of here.
Well, it specifically says creature you can see within 30 feet of you, so I highly doubt it'll work. But
Yeah, if it's creature you can see, no, you wouldn't. You
Okay.
can't see it.
so that doesn't work. I'm gonna look back over at the reflection. I just hear a rhythmic beating.
It's because you're not listening, Damakos. But that's fine. The world doesn't fall on you not being able to hear this. I'm you. I can hear this. And it's begging us for help. So nicely. Power gets respect, Damakos. The more power we have, the more respect we have. If we have enough power, we won't need Zahn's help to wipe him off the face of this planet.
Part of that sounds like something my father would say.
Oh, your father's a lot of things. Definitely not mentally well. But you have to admit, he's right in some parts. Is he a good parent? No. Is he very good at rapidly rising up and attaining more power than he should have? Yeah. I'm not saying we follow his parenting rules, the way he runs his house. Hell, I'm not even saying we follow the ways he communicates with other people. What I'm saying is that he's very wise when it comes to power. And we're going to go ahead and let you think on that. So, Zahn and Franziska, you guys are headed back to the Masveric estate. When you get back to this ruined space, you do see that there are some people that are kind of looking up at the ruined manor, although they're kind of whispering very intently amongst themselves.
Do I recognize any of them?
No, they just seem to be. They're all wearing their masks for one. They seem to be a few assortments of noblemen, neighbors.
I will attempt not to draw their suspicion and go around to the back.
Cool. Yeah, so you take the longer way around to the back. Francisco, are you following or just marching past?
I'll follow his lead.
Cool. So each of you march around the back, come up through the back way, and do make your way into the mansion without being seen.
Then I guess we're going to find Falmir, if he's awake
Sure.
yet.
Falamir's not quite awake yet. It's a little bit closer to 6, but the sun hasn't set yet, so it'll be like about an hour or so before Falamir would reasonably be up.
Then I will wait.
Cool. Francisca, anything you want to do, or you just want to wait?
If we're inside the manor, I'd probably head over to the kitchen and see if they have anything still left in there.
Yeah, sure. There's some food in there.
Just like old times. I'll scavenge up something to eat because it is about lunch.
Cool. So you are eating. About an hour passes, and the sun has set, and the Johnnies are just kind of wandering aimlessly around. You haven't seen Falamir leave the master bedroom where they brought his coffin up.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I heard
Sure.
like half of it.
But yeah, no worries. About an hour passes. The sun does set. The Johnnies are wandering around aimlessly. No sign of Falamir, although you do know that they brought his coffin up to the master bedroom.
Cool. Guess we're going there.
Cool. Any objections, Francisca? Cool. So you each go up into the master bedroom, where you see that Falamir is sitting in a chair, reading. His coffin is propped up against the wall. It is shut and secured, and he seems to be ignoring the massive amounts of destruction in the room.
What is it that you would like to discuss?
Oh, right. So, what happened here exactly?
A mistake. One that I hope could have been useful, but something else came up.
Oh,
I need to go back down south.
you're not rushing to be king.
Not anymore.
I thought you were going to clean this country up.
I would love to, but if the entire continent is wiped off the face of the planet, it won't matter.
Wait, you have word of a continental threat?
I have for a while, it just probably hadn't stuck with me until recently.
Well, I would agree that a continental threat is a little bit more alarming than a simple monarchy change.
Right.
So when do you head out?
After we kill the queen.
I
We
thought
still
you
have
said
to
you
do
had a
that.
bigger threat.
We do. However, the one person in our party has decided that we need to do that first. Otherwise, their family is in danger or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Family is important to people. Family is important to people. So, understandable. And you're deciding to leave with them rather than going off on your own.
Correct.
All right. Well then, well, I've already started my cruise on building the rumor that the entire family was killed by an invasion of ghosts, and that this place is haunted. I've had a few Johnnies be spotted on occasion to increase the rumor's belief, and it seems to be working.
I can see that. I had to sneak in.
Well, you want to fake a death, you don't need to destroy such a beautiful home.
I suppose. In either case, what are you going to do now?
Well, probably stay here for a bit. I'll decide when it's ready, when it's time for me to decide. That's the benefits of living forever. No rushes.
Yeah. Well, I don't need this anymore anyway, so it's fine for you to stay here as long as you want. But thank you, I suppose.
That's fine. No need to get all mushy with me, Zon.
Oh, I'm not. I just appreciative of people that actually follow their word.
Well, of course, without our word, we're nothing but beasts.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Francisca alone.
As you wish. I need to go find our coffers anyways and drain them.
Sure. So, you head off to find the coffers, which you know where they are.
Yep.
Add 50,000 gold pieces into your inventory.
Into the bag they go. I cannot carry
Alright.
50,000 gold pieces.
All right, so Francisca, you're in the room alone with Falamir. The door's been
Yes.
shut. And his expression is going to drop into a very serious one. What happened to Kara?
The Masveric boy had a creature in here trying to keep his family alive. Creature turned out to be a hag who had plenty of opportunity to infest this place. Our group got separated trying to deal with her, and she ended up striking at Kara.
Dying doesn't make you lose your vampirism. What
No, it doesn't.
happened?
From what I could tell, there was an attempt to revive her, and she seemed to completely alter her entire physiological being.
What did I tell you to do with Kara?
Protect her.
And you understand why I'm disappointed.
Yes.
There is no cure for vampirism. So how could Kara no longer be a vampire? And how could it happen on your watch?
I have a theory, hearing them speak to one another.
Oh?
Whatever it is that Zon Masveric has wrapped himself up in appears to be some sort of divine kerfuffle. And it seems that Kara through some means of her own, was able to sneak out of a divine pact with some being called the Host. I'm suspecting that whatever allowed her to sneak out of such a pact might have also allowed her to sneak out of vampirism. She may have someone or something watching over her shoulder.
No, that is not the best news. At least she did not come to me empty-handed. I will have my other investigators look. In the meantime, who do you think would be a better ruler, Kara or Damokos?
Damokos has no drive to be a ruler. He doesn't want to do it to rule. He wants to do it to protect his family, his brother. He wants to protect him from his father, who he wouldn't mind seeing killed.
Then kill the father. This is a simple solution. I thought you
Oh,
could
I
do
agree.
these things.
Oh, I agree, but these three seem to want to make everything complicated.
Fine. Help them kill the queen, and
Normally, I would say Kara would be a better ruler, but Kara has new unknown variables about her.
right, I do not trust this thing that happened with Kara, so I guess I'll start supporting Damokos. Frustrating. Damokos does not seem like he'd be as easy to coerce.
If I am completely honest and candid, I do not know what Damokos' ambitions are. Where they lean. He's very hard to read.
This is frustrating and disappointing. But everything happens for a reason. This is fine. We can get this done. We can get this resolved. However, because you lost a valuable vampire, you're being demoted. And your pay will be cut as such. Be careful you don't fall too far into favor. Otherwise, my agents may start coming after you.
That is very fair. Of agents, there might have been one of yours that I ended up in a minor battle.
Do not worry about that.
Okay.
You think you ran into one of my agents, you forget that you met them.
Understood.
It is important that they do not know why we are here, Franziska.
Well, hopefully in a week they will be on their way.
I do not trust them. To be frank. The only one that I could rely on that would give me what I wanted was Zon. The rest are unknown variables who are out of my control. I want you to stay with them. And if anything happens or you feel they'd be a threat to us, kill them immediately. But remember, these are not your friends, these are cattle.
Understood.
As for tonight, I want you to prowl around. If anyone is caught sneaking onto the grounds, I want it to look like a monster is prowling here.
I can make that arranged.
Typically, after the family's been dead, it shall take a few days for an investigator to come out and size up the land and its property. I want to purchase it for nothing. I want you to fill this place so full of monsters, at least the rumors of such, that I can just walk in and grab the property.
I will get to work.
Excellent. You are dismissed.
I am going to go ahead and see myself out. I'm going to try and find Zahn.
Sure. So Zahn, at this point, you found the coffers. You've already drained them out into your bag of holding. Where are you now?
At this point, he would probably just be sitting somewhere. Probably just nearby.
Cool. So, yeah, in the sort of dining area across the room from the master bedroom is where you see Zahn sitting.
I'm going to just walk over to him and be like, I have some business to attend to, so I will not be able to join you back at the tower.
It's alright. You know what it is.
I'm going to try and just take a seat, like, kind of across. I am sorry for what happened.
It's not your fault.
I feel somewhat like it is, at least partially.
Doesn't matter now. Sacrifices will be necessary. Unfortunately. And if you stick with me, there will be great things to come.
Undoubtedly. You've been a very exciting group to travel with.
Of course. I do hope next time, though, you listen to me a bit more.
We shall have to see. If hopefully next time won't have so many teleporting enemies. No?
I suppose. In any case, go do about your business. I have to figure out how I'm going to use some of this gold before it burns a hole in my pocket.
Before I go, though, there is something I'm wondering. I heard you caught a Damocles stalking, and I was wondering if you might clue me in a little bit about what this host is. He doesn't sound like any deity that I have ever heard of.
Hard to say. If he's a god, if he's more than a god, it's difficult to explain. One moment you're just sleeping soundly, and then the next you're in a dream filled with him speaking on to you what you should be doing. Gifts sometimes bestowed upon you. He sort of motions to his back.
Obviously.
But from what he's told me, and the others at some point before they fell out of favor with him one way or another. We need to find this sword and break the Great Arc Mirror, as she's called, in the hopes that whatever calamity is coming our way will be avoided.
Sounds kind of vague, if you ask me.
It is. But everything that he has said so far, I have no reason not to believe. As time has gone on, we found things that sort of confirm this, or at least partially. That these beings from before their civilization collapsed, but their power remained. And now we have to deal with them, one way or another.
I still have a lot of questions, but I think spacing them out might be for the best.
It's up to you. I can explain as much as you can, but I have more questions than you could probably imagine still.
I guess I would ask if this deity had any symbols or something iconic about him.
He'll pull off his gauntlet and show him the tattoo.
Ooh. So he marks his subjects.
Correct. Was there any other symbols for the host? Wasn't there?
You mean the massive wings on your
Well,
back?
I mean, like, actual symbology for him.
Oh, actual symbology? As far as you can tell, it just seems to be sort of a plain mask. This seems to be on there. It doesn't, as the host like is kind of mentioned, he doesn't really someone who's openly like worshipped. So
Yeah.
you could assume that there isn't like an official like, oh, this is his sigil, kind of thing. Like he doesn't have an active priest or prophet yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This is just for me, though. As far as actual symbology, I couldn't really tell you. That's why I said if he's more than a god or not even really one, we don't really know.
So he lacks obfuscation.
I suppose. The powers at play, the one that seems to be the opposing him, are similar in that they don't really work with knowledge. But everything I've seen of them is only bad, so...
It surprises me a little bit hearing you speak that your friends fell out of favor with the host.
That's the thing. Some of them did it willingly, out of survival. Others were just not sure. I mentioned the other being. They seem to be all over the place and much more willing to talk. Well, not talk, but act. And in their actions, it normally removes us from whatever chance of being with the host is, avoiding us from completing the mission he took for us to us. It's one of those reasons why I don't think it's out of the question to believe what the host thinks is true.
Any symbologies or iconographies for this other faction of possible, not possible divine beings? I wouldn't want them
7
to...
sets of eyes.
7 sets of eyes. Well, I know if I see anything with 7 eyes to take it with a grain of salt.
I take it with a little bit more than that. I take it with extreme caution.
Does not sound too dissimilar to the things that go on in Kel. We knights of different orders tend to fight amongst ourselves for various reasons, I'm sure. From an outside point of view, it would seem like two forces fighting each other for no reason at all.
Yeah. In any case, go do your business. We can discuss it further later. I'm sure the others can give you a more broader perspective than I can.
Well, I at least appreciate your candor. I will see you again tomorrow.
Of course.
All right. So, Zan, I'm assuming you're heading towards the tower?
Yeah.
Okay. And Francisca, can you go ahead and throw me a performance check for the horrifying murders you're going to commit tonight?
Okay. Don't fuck me, dice.
Jesus, you have a plus 14 and you got an 8? Oof, that's a low roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you successfully do a good job and build up the Mazaveric is haunted rumor a little bit more. So we're going to hop back to Damikos. Damikos, looking at this altar, what are you going to do?
At least once during this time, I probably would have tried to focus again and just see if I can hear anything more than a freaking heartbeat.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Perception check or Arcana check.
Nope.
Oh my
just
God.
Not wanting to happen.
I can't believe you rolled the same result twice.
Right?
Same thing as before. Something right on the edge of your perception.
Thing. Okay. Does the orb react to the altar at all?
It's just cold and heavy. That's all you can tell.
Cold and heavy, okay. I'm gonna look at the reflection.
All right.
Since you, my unconscious mind, seem to be better able to perceive what is actually here. Is there a guarantee from this entity other than the asking nicely and wanting to be freed? The last time I acted, what Zahn would call irrationally, led to certain things happening.
Well, I mean, it is promising all of the power in this room to be yours. But it's less of like words and more of feelings and intentions, which is probably why you're not able to pick it up. Growing up in an emotionally stunted family does tend to blunt one's understanding of emotions. But um, it's not, I mean, worst case scenario, it's just us. That gets affected by whatever. Best case scenario, though, your dad's gone. Zahn too frightened of you to ever talk down to you or try to use you as his tool. And we could be alone. No responsibilities to family. We can do whatever we want. Because think about it. With that much power, who's going to tell us no?
Well, the best case scenario, in my opinion, would be I would at least have the capability of dealing with my father.
Oh, this room has more than enough power for that. We might not even need the others. Although, more distractions for pain, more distractions for pain is good. And by that I mean more people to get hit instead of us is a better option. We should always go with that option.
Yes, I'm a squishy spellcaster. I need a tank with armor.
And Zahn happens to be a tank with armor.
Even though my father wishes to basically see him dead. Nothing ventured, right?
Right.
Now the altar, just to clarify, is it like stone?
Um,
'Cause,
so,
like the name is like carved into it,
so the thing is, the names are carved into the wax on top.
into the wax. Okay.
Yeah.
He will get rid of Metal's name.
Cool. So you just kind of touch some of the molten wax. It's cold to the touch. It's not hot at all. And slide it over Metal's name. The wax seeps in, and Metal's name is no longer there.
And Damokos will proceed to write his name into the wax.
Excellent. Now what's left is the hands.
Then he'll place his hands on the handprints.
Cool. So the handprints which were once Sister Metal's hands, sort of shift and form themselves to fit your hands better, and the molten wax starts to flow over them. If you weren't a tiefling, your hands would be burning at this point. You can feel this almost like a deep breath of air being let loose. You feel your old bonds being released, and you feel new ones being gained. Welcome to being a Doomlock. And so, Zahn wakes up in the middle of the night with a piercing headache. Almost feels like your entire body is in pain and seizing up. And you hear a heavenly voice almost scream out in a mixture of fear, pain, and horror. A new harbinger has been selected. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you all so much for joining us on another week of FetchQuest. You all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Anything anyone would like to add or promote?
Not yet.
All right.
Nope.
Well, you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. Bye.